One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads. I'm feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free.
They're back.
What up, though? 7 days, and we're back again for another episode of Dominant Effect. I'm March Bishop, got Mike Ball, Aaron Olinger. What's up, everybody? Glad you're able to tune in and share another Wednesday night with us. We got another story for you. Before we get started, hit that like button. We can get this show out on the right algorithm, and for more people can actually tune in and watch. So tonight we're going to be talking about a moment that could change the entire Middle East and also hit your wallet at the same time. The U.S. has now moved from pressure and airstrikes to direct naval blockades of the Iranian ports. Now, oil markets are already shaken, and it's being rerouted by land because war zones are being so disruptive. And the diplomats are scrambling to resolve the talks before this spills out into an even further problem across that region. So we're first going to start out with talking about what just happened. And what's happened is that the U.S. blockade of the Iranian ports started back in April 13th and 14th, right after the talks failed. And this is not just symbolism. The U.S. says that it is actively enforcing this blockade. 6 ships has already turned away from what they've reported. And that humanitarian shipments are only allowed after inspection. This isn't just another round of warnings. This is a physical enforcement done on the water. Now, a naval blockade is one of the most serious moves short of invasion. That means that the U.S. is controlling Iran's access to global trade. Any ship entering and exiting Iran is now a potential military target. This is not what you call a legal gray zone warfare, so to speak. It's not declared war, but it's aggravation through this whole trigger. From what we've gathered through the information is that the talks failed, and being in fact the talks failed, this is the next step to it. Now, why does this actually matter?
Would you consider this phase 2?
Yes, that's what.
Okay.
So why does this actually matter? Because Iran's economy runs heavily on oil exports and the imports of goods and food material. And if you cut that off, then that's basically like an economic suffocation type deal. So you basically cutting them off from everything. Now, this isn't, by them doing this isn't like some people thinking, well, okay, well, you bombed them and that didn't work, so now you're doing this. It isn't a situation where bombs failing. This is more like a slow chokehold that the U.S. is doing, basically saying, we don't have to invade you. We'll just shut you down altogether. So what do you think about that, Aaron?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, this is siege warfare, basically. And that's what we're seeing going on. I mean, 90% of Iran's money, 90% is based upon their oil production, or their oil exports rather. And when oil was above 100, because it dropped today, it's down to on crude, it's 91.21, and on the light sweet Brent crude is 94.66. So it's under 100 today.
That's a big deal, because it was at like 120,
Right.
So, yeah.
That's major. And then on top of that, they're choking them out on where they can't make any money. I mean, overnight, their money can go, say, if you got something worth $1, 90% missing from it, it'd be worth 10 cents tomorrow, what you got in the bank. And you're going to have civil unrest, because when the people cannot support themselves, you cannot control them. You cannot keep them under control. You're going to have major problems. And I don't know if everyone realized it or not, but a few days ago, Trump announced to the world that with the embargo on Iran, if anyone was feeling the squeeze, including China, that they can send their oil tankers over here to the United States and come up there through the Gulf of Mexico. They can gas up over there at Venezuela, or they can buy oil from us. And as of today, we have confirmed 121 empty oil tankers heading our way, and 68 of those are super tankers that can carry 2 million barrels each. And with Iran losing that, and also losing the toll fees, I mean, man, that is a major squeeze. You've got literally a chokehold around their neck right now, and it's going to get worse. But I'll stop there.
Can I ask a question real quick? So Trump came out with this post this morning from the White House. It says, China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz. I am doing it for them also and the world. This situation will never happen again. They have agreed to not send weapons to Iran, meaning China, signed President Donald J. Trump. So what are your thoughts on that particular post this morning?
You asking me? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds, I believe it could be true. I mean, if you don't mind, put up picture number 3, if you don't mind.
Sure. I got you right here.
Because one thing is for sure, the Strait of Hormuz does not belong to Iran.
Correct.
And what people can see here is this is how oil, especially this year, has been fluctuating. And we can see where recently it started coming back down. And that's going to affect countries like Russia, Venezuela, Iran, anybody that has the value of their currency based upon their oil exports. And if you don't mind, go to picture number 1, please.
Sure.
Okay. What that picture shows, and we know it shows where Iran's oil wells are, and a lot of theirs is along that Persian Gulf area. What you see by the blue marks is their actual power grid. Now, Trump had mentioned that he was thinking about taking out their grid, and it's only like 5 or 6 main places that he has to hit, and that entire country's in darkness, and it will be catastrophic for them. I mean, it would take them 2 years minimum to even get the grid back on, let alone be production savvy. So, I mean, we're kind of holding back right now on really totally tearing them up and putting them in total darkness. But I just wanted everybody to see that. And then there are the red dots are the nuclear plants that we can also hit too, if we wanted to cut the power there as well. But I just wanted everyone to see that. And you go ahead and take it down, Mike.
So, by the way, just to clarify for people, when it says nuclear right there, it's not them doing nuclear weapons grade stuff. This is their power plant for that they use nuclear with. I just wanted to clarify that. So
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did.
Yeah, to answer your question, Michael, you was talking about the
post
when he said that President Xi was agreed not to send any weapons to Iran. The question you should ask yourself is he saying he's not going to send any weapons, or he's not going to send any more?
Right
there.
Right. That
because,
kidding. No kidding.
It's already because it's already been said that they have already sent weapons there. Matter of fact, they just showed on one of the news broadcasts overseas that showed a Chinese cargo plane that had landed in Tehran with quote supplies or whatever.
Shit. Yeah.
This was just last week. And it's also been noted through a lot of back channels that China has in fact given out information to actually help Iran. Same thing as Russia's been doing. I mean, so it's kind of like, even with both of them, it's like you're dealing with a double-edged sword. They're saying one thing on this end, and then they doing something on this end. And so you really don't know, dealing with them two, who to trust and who not. You know what I mean? Because they both doing the same thing. And they both have a signed treaty with Iran to protect them if they ever got invaded. So it's kind of hard to say, okay, yeah, he said he's not going to do it, and I trust what he's saying, because there's a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah. Let me add to that. During that 2-week lull that we put in place, ceasefire, I mean, we were rearming our ships, and Iran was rearming like crazy. There was an endless group of cargo ships going in, and then there's a sea that Iran connects to and Russia connects to, that no allies can put any ships into this area. It's really blocked off. And there was endless cargo ships coming across that area. It seemed like either someone told them that we was going to do an embargo, a blockade on them, or they guessed it, because China shipped them the CM-302 missiles. And those are the missiles that fly at Mach 3. They're anti-ship missiles. They fly at Mach 3. They zigzag in flight, and they hug the sea so that radar can't pick them up when they're launched. And they can pierce any ship's armor and go inside and destroy a ship. It's supposed to be able to take out a carrier by itself. They're that explosive. And then on top of that, because the Wild Weasel planes that we have that's got the anti-radar missiles on them, that's been taking out their radar installations, they received a shipment of man pads, which, for those who don't know what they are, those are equal to our Stinger missiles. They're shoulder launched, they're infrared guided, so you don't have to turn on a radar, and it's a fire and forget weapon. Once you lock it on, you fire, the missile locks on itself, and you can run back into the cave or wherever you're hiding at and get you another one and come back out and aim again and shoot. But between the anti-ship missiles and those man pads, China's been busy shipping. Plus, they shipped them that new radar system they got that they claim can detect our stealth planes, and that amazed me right there. If that's actually true or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one yet. Interesting.
See, that's why I said. So was he saying he wasn't sending them nothing, period, or I'm not going to send them nothing else?
Right.
You know what I mean? 'Cause it's already showed that it's already been proven that they've been sending stuff over there, and they have been getting intelligence from them. And China has multiple satellites out there that's giving ground information, where different planes and stuff like that are located. They've been given that. But let's
on the intel
in.
side for sure. Right.
So let's jump in, like, what happened with these talks, because these talks is the reason why this has even come about anyway.
So the 21 hours of nothing.
Right.
You're talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
So the U.S. and Iran basically met up in Islamabad, Pakistan, April 11th and the 12th for about 21 hours of negotiations, trying to end the war and lock in this long-term deal. And their goal was to basically to end the war, open up the Strait of Hormuz, agree to nuclear limits, and then basically stabilize that region. But what actually happened? They made progress on some surface level issues, but hit major deadlocks on key issues when it ended up being talks about the actual nuclear part of it. And that was the main issue that really killed that whole deal. So basically, the U.S. demanded that they end any kind of uranium enrichment, shut down the nuclear facilities, and remove their enriched uranium stockpile. And Iran wanted no shutdown and offered only a temporary pause. Basically, wanted just give them 5 years, them not doing anything for 5 years, and then they would be able to carry on from that point.
As they collect tolls from the ships during that time, of course, that's what they want.
Right. So the U.S. wanted more of a long-term guarantee. U.S. wanted 20 years. Right. Iran wanted 5. So Iran refused to give that up. Result, no agreement. So that's what actually caused this part right here, because Iran wanted to keep control of the strait, and like Mike just said, to be able to charge toll for going back and forth in and out of the Strait of Hormuz, which that's a no-go. You know what I mean? And especially being the fact that the toll that you are trying to collect, you're trying to collect using the Chinese yuan, which totally undermines the U.S. dollar and the whole petrodollar agreement
100%.
that was done there anyway. You know, so they definitely not going to do that, because if they agree to that, then you basically de-dollarize the dollar. Absolutely, you're getting ready to basically going to collapse the dollar by doing that. Mm-hmm. So that definitely ain't going to happen. Iran also wanted all their sanctions to be lifted immediately, and also to release all their frozen assets that had been throughout these years, which I don't have an actual dollar amount of how much that is.
I don't either.
But they wanted that release as well. The U.S. side was basically they would do like a gradual relief that was kind of tied into but not a whole lot. It was like, okay,
Well, the
we'll give you a
original
little bit,
framework,
but not all of it.
the
Go ahead.
original framework did state that they would lift all sanctions on Iran. Remember that original 10-point whatever plan, and then it turned into 15 and whatever. That was one of the original points on there, was all sanctions would be lifted. And that's, of course, what Iran was totally for. I mean, they're like, yeah, that's something that we would love. But, of course, that's getting to that point, though, is the hard part, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, see, so when you're talking about the 10 and the 15, the U.S. had a 15 point.
Right.
Iran had the 10. But like in Iran's 10 point, they wanted for the U.S. for anyone not to mess with Hezbollah or any other regional allies that they had.
Correct.
So they wanted Hezbollah protected. They wanted the Houthis protected. They didn't want anyone to interfere with them whatsoever. And of course, the U.S. is saying, no, we need them gone. They need to stop, and you need to stop funding them. So that was another issue that they had that was going on between them two as well. So it wasn't just one thing. It was a list. I had a list here of the actual. This
demands.
is the actual 10-point plan. Here, let me see what we got here. I'm gonna read to you the actual 10-point plan.
Nice.
Number one,
Now,
lift all. Go ahead.
That's from their side. The 10-point is from Iran's side.
Yes, this
Okay.
is. So by the time I read these 10, you'll realize the reason why everybody just said, "Hell no, we're not."
Right.
So this is their 10 key demands. Number one, lift all sanctions immediately. No gradual easing. They want full removal of all sanctions. Release frozen Iranian assets, which was, for what it says here, was billions of dollars that was held abroad in various places that was frozen. So they want all those released. They want the U.S. military withdrawn from the region, remove bases and any presence near Iran. So everything over in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, they wanted all those bases gone, never to return. Stop all attacks on Iran and the allies, including the conflict in Lebanon. Recognition of Iran's sovereignty, no outside interference. Control over the Strait of Hormuz. Iran maintains authority over that waterway. They wanted a UN-backed binding agreement with international enforcement of this deal. Compensation and reconstruction support for all the war damage. Continued nuclear rights. Iran keeps in their enrichment capability. And number 10, long-term security guarantees with no future attacks from the U.S. or any of their allies. So that's the 10-point plan that they came up with. Now, just by reading that, I don't think they would probably agree to any of these other than lifting the sanctions, which they have lifted some sanctions over there. And
also it's just as kind of crazy on our side as well, like where it's unrealistic that they're not going to end up doing either.
Right. So other than that one, and probably some kind of compensation for the war itself. I mean, I could see them probably doing something like that. Other than that, I really don't see anything on here that the U.S. would just jump on and say, yeah, okay, let's just make a deal based on what I just read there. I mean, that's clearly just a one-sided deal, and that's not gonna help either side.
That's what happens when they both come to the table thinking they have the leverage. That's what ends up happening right there. They both think they have the leverage, and there's leverage on both sides in different areas. We have that in firepower and all these things on a military level, But when it comes to them in the strait, that they have a geographical advantage there. I mean, they can deploy drones from all over that coastline. They can shoot rockets from underneath the ground, by the way, where they open up and then they shoot them off and close it back off. It's crazy that they have prepared to this level. But on a geographical level, they have, I mean, the Strait of Hormuz, what the whole coastline is Iran. And so they can hit you and pinpoint you in that bottleneck very easily. And these ship owners, by the way, when they're carrying this amount of cargo, like 2 million barrels of oil, that's insured. Well, a lot of this has now become uninsured. The insurance companies have been like, yeah, no, we're not dealing with that, you know, and they've pulled out. And so there's a lot of different issues that go in with this. Also, somebody said, well, why don't these ship owners just pay the $2 million toll and then just get on with it and pass it on to the consumer? And I said, yeah, well, I mean, I guess that you're theoretically correct on that, I guess. But at the same token, I look at it as like, the ship owners don't actually make as much money as you guys would think they do. I mean, trust me, before I got into the industry that I got into, you know, being involved in the maritime industry and shipping and fueling ships and all of this stuff, it's literally what I did for a decade. And you learn that these guys don't make as much money as you think you would think they would. That you would think they make hundreds of millions of dollars, like super quick and whatever. No, that's not really the case. Their overhead is extremely high. Insurance, permits, licenses, and then of course the overhead, so of like employees and stuff. But it's just insane. So, anyways, just wanted to clarify that.
I mean, even with that, okay, so let's take that. Okay, so these companies, they pay the toll, right?
Sure.
If they pay the toll, they get the oil. First thing you got to think about is, number one, how they're paying it. That's going to be your first problem because of the currency that they're willing to take for the oil. That's going to be
basically bricks and Bitcoin. That's what they're taking.
So that's your first problem. Second problem is a lot of these. I don't know whether people really realize this or not, that before this even took place, remember we was talking about in earlier shows that OPEC basically runs how much the price is per barrel of oil.
Right.
And a lot of times that changes because of weather anomalies like hurricanes, stuff like that, and also conflicts in different areas that would make the gas prices rise.
It's very similar to the same global market of precious metals.
Right.
Very similar.
Right. So before this took place, most of those tankers would fill up with oil and they would sit out in international waters and drop anchor.
Mm-hmm.
And they would sit there for a period of time. Why, you may ask? Because they're watching the market and they're watching how much that cost of that oil is. And when it hits to a certain price, then they come in and deliver that oil.
You're 100% correct.
Right. So if it's $56, they're going to sit out there. Once it hits 60, they're going to come in and make that money because they just made more money than they did when they paid for it from the start.
If they just waited out just a little bit, the market shifts and then they get the call from the agent of the ship and they say, okay, now you guys are clear to move. You know, pick up anchor and go unload. Listen, I mean, I used to go fuel those guys where I'd go, you know, they would come in from China or wherever they're coming from, wherever. And when they would come in, we would fuel them because they would set out an anchor, I mean, for weeks and weeks sometimes. So we'd go out there, fuel them up or whatever the case is, you know. And at the very first job I did in that harbor, we used to go deliver them like stores and stuff like that, give them like all the stuff that they would need for cooking, you know, all that kind of stuff, but whatever.
Yeah, so they would, okay, so you're doing that. Now, before, like I said, they were sitting out there, wait till the prices come, then they come in. Now, if you turn around and you ship that $2 million there and then transfer that over to the customer, on top of that price that they're sitting out there waiting on, then you're gonna have $10 gas.
Right.
And don't nobody want that. You know what I mean? So you got to think, even if they pay it here, you're going to pay for it here. Whether, I mean, there's no different than when they're doing the tariffs. You're still going to pay for it. So that's it may seem logical, but once you know all the little intricate parts to that, then you'll see that you definitely don't want to be involved in that. You know what I mean? But to go back to this deal didn't fall because they couldn't agree. It failed because what the US wants and what Iran wants is basically the fundamental opposite.
It's impossible.
Okay? Right. One wants
with the
control.
Current demands. Right.
Right. So you got one side that wants control. You got one side that wants guarantees. And you're not going to get it. You know what I mean? Someone, you would think that this would be something, especially being the fact that, like nothing's happened here. Now, are they destroying a lot over there too? Absolutely. But they're losing a lot as well. You know what I mean? So eventually it's going to have to stop. It's going to come to a head. And this whole oil thing right here is what's going to bring it to a head, because you have countries out there right now that's like weeks away from not having any oil at all. You know what I mean?
You're very right. And something that I just wanted to point out is, look at the shipping lanes currently. This is currently what's going on with the ships right this second. This is live right this second. As you guys know, people that are leaving from the, the Persian Gulf or whatever, all this area from the Strait of Hormuz, they're leaving and going over here and going down to Yemen. As you guys know, who own, basically the Yemen Houthi rebels run this whole area. They have the ability to shut down this strait. And this is the current traffic right this second. But a lot of the ships that the insurance is saying, we're not paying you, or we're not going to insure the load if you guys take these straits. So look at the amount of traffic that is going around Africa right now. They're going all the way around and deviating all the way back to Europe instead of doing the quick little whoop cut through on the Strait of Hormuz. They're going all the way around Africa. Now, the reason why I even brought this up is because the strait, as AB and Aaron pointed out earlier, the strait is not owned by Iran or anybody. It's an international passage. This is a shipping lane. So as you guys can see, the UAE is alongside of all this, Qatar, Oman. These guys, it's not just Iran. They just have a geographical advantage because of firepower at that very point. But the point is the reason why no one's going to concede to a $2 million, toll to get through is because this isn't theirs. It's not theirs in the first place. They just happen to be along the coast, but this is an international passageway. So anyways, just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, when you was talking about the ships going all the way around, going all the way down past Africa, come up, you got
that's a lot of fuel being burned in time, and just unreal.
Right, you got the USS George Bush that's doing just that. They went all the way down there. Last I checked, they were in the Caspian Sea right now, heading to Iran, but it went the long way. It didn't. Right. It didn't cut through the strait. It went the long way. It came all the way back around. So you have another carrier along with destroyers, cruisers, subs that's taking the long way around, but they're on their way there. You know what I mean? So they're going to keep that going for as long as it takes. You know what I mean? So I was thinking at first that it was, when they said they were going to do this, that they were basically shutting down everything. And then once I read up on it, it was like, no, it's not shutting down everything. It's shutting down anybody trying to go to any Iranian port.
Correct.
It's shutting down.
Correct.
So if you're not going there, you can go through. But
yes, they're not focused on blockading the blockade on the strait. They're focusing now on any imports or exports from Iran. That is what is in subject right here. The strait itself, where they're not stopping in Iran. They're just trying to pass through a global shipping channel You know, as long as they're not going to Iran, they're not going to be targeted by the United States.
You know, when Aaron was talking just a few minutes ago, and he was talking about the replenishment that was stocking up on our end, they're stocking up on their end. Them 2 weeks is also good for the Navy because they're able to go through and find these mines. Because even if you open up the strait to everyone, except for the ones that's going to a Iranian port, you need to make sure that those mines are gathered up. I seen a report the other day that even Iran doesn't know where all those mines are.
They
because
don't.
they lost contact with them, so they don't
But
really know where all those mines are.
Let me propose a question. As a ship owner, you've got 2 million barrels of oil. The insurance company just calls and says, yeah, we're not insuring this. And then you ask a ship owner to be like, oh yeah, we'll just take the risk. They're not going to do it. Of course not. They've got way too much. I mean, just the ship itself is hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're not willing to just blow up their shit.
Well, see, that's why right now is actually a good time for the Navy to actually go through and basically play minesweeper. You know what I mean? And that was one of the reasons why President Trump was actually asking the UK and Britain to actually send ships over there, because they have actual minesweepers that they could be. That's their primary job, is to find these mines. Now, you trying to hold an actual air operation and searching for mines too, that's a lot to do, because you got to concentrate on one thing or the other. You know what I mean? So I do understand the reason why he was asking for those ships to come over there, because that is a big thing. You know what I mean? You worried about your actual airstrikes, and you also being prepared for the surface and air warfare to come in on both ends, and now you're trying to worry about trying to pick up mines as well. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to that. And then two, you don't want those mines floating around and you done escorted one of these tankers through and they hit one, you know, right after you done escorted them through, and they go past you and boom, now you got 200 million barrels of oil on fire out in the strait.
It's a big deal.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, just oil alone not being on fire is already, I mean, we're talking millions and millions, not billions, but millions and millions just to clean up. You know,
Right.
Trust me, I've watched, I mean, one of my guys that I relieved at my old job before I lost my leg, I relieved him during a oil spill that he had done. And the whole harbor shut down, and the entire harbor probably lost, it was somewhere like $2 billion in that day, you know, just shutting down all of commerce. And just to clean it up, it's a nightmare. I had to deal with a whole bunch of lawyers flying in. You know what I mean? It was crazy. It was crazy. All happened within 12 hours.
Now, you know, this blockade basically proves that the ceasefire failed. You know what I mean? Because even once the ceasefire was announced, there were still attacks going on both sides.
Yeah.
But the U.S. launched this naval blockade immediately after the talks collapsed. As soon as it collapsed, they said, nope, no deal. Blockade started. And that tells you that the ceasefire wasn't stable. It wasn't built on trust, and it wasn't leading to any kind of resolution whatsoever. Because if it was, and if the actual peace agreement was real, then you don't go from a ceasefire to a blockade like overnight. If there was trust on both sides that you was going to actually be able to have an agreement done, you knew that it wasn't going to happen. But then there's a little bit more about the optics of this whole outcome, because the ceasefire it was often used. Me personally, I think the ceasefire was used to kind of calm the markets down, ease the pressure to the people, and to actually buy you a little bit of time politically to kind of figure out what move you're going to do next. because everything
And also
at that
replenish your resources that you've depleted as well.
Exactly. So it's basically like a timeout, regroup. Let us, you regroup, we regroup, and then we're gonna pick this back up in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? That's kind of what this whole thing seems like. So like it gives the appearance of something being done without actually fixing the issue itself. Just like a grown-up's way of just saying time out for a couple minutes. What do you think about that, Aaron?
I think you're absolutely right. And is it okay if I tell what the Saudi offer is for us right now?
Sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah, absolutely.
Trump
Yeah,
was thinking about trying to make this war be over with before the end of the month. But then when he made that announcement, he got an urgent phone call from the Saudi royal prince. And what he basically said to Trump was that he wants Trump to finish the job and severely weaken Iran once and for all. They offered a very large mega deal to the United States if we're willing to do that. So I guess we're being paid like hitmen to take out Iran's competition here. They're offering $100 billion to cover American war costs. So they're willing to pay for the whole war if we're willing to go for this deal. They're also willing to give us $1 trillion in new U.S. investments. So they're going to invest in our economy, $1 trillion. They're willing to give us $500 billion to purchase American weapons. So we're looking at a weapons deal that would help our defense industries. The package also includes full Saudi-Israeli relations after regime change. So there's a contingency there.
I was just about to say the only thing the only way that this can happen is contingent on that. Yeah.
Right. And then they're proposing a new pipeline. Israel always needs oil. So they're willing to build a pipeline from Saudi Arabia to the Ashdod port of Israel to provide Israel with oil. And then they're willing to help set up a powerful new U.S.-led defense alliance in that region that we ourselves will be leading. They want to have joint naval forces to control the Strait of Hormuz so Iran can never pull this stunt again. And then they're willing to pay for funding for us, our U.S. bases that we will have in Israel. They're going to cover the whole cost. Then they wanted to build a joint fund to rebuild a secular, moderate Iran. And that's what the Saudis are offering.
Shit.
They don't want this war to end too fast, not until a certain amount of damage and Iran is weakened to the point that none of them have to fear them anymore.
Well, Jason said it correctly in the chat right there. Sounds like Saudi Arabia is playing the old saying out of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
But they left one proviso out, and Bishop said it to me the other day when I told him what they was offering, and it would be key. It expired. It lasted 50 years. I'll let Bishop say what it is.
No, I was saying when we were talking about this the other day and he brought that up, I said the only thing that's not mentioned on there that I would like, if this was a deal that they were willing to do, which you see proxy all over this, right?
100%.
But if this is the deal that they put on the table and we're willing to do all of this, the one main thing that I would put on here would be, okay, if you want me to stay here and you want me to do this, then you need to sign a new 50-year treaty for the petrodollar and get completely out of BRICS.
You're totally onto it. I mean, that's interesting that wasn't kind of a focus on all that, that wasn't automatically included.
Right. So they never mentioned that, which, I mean, if you're going to if somebody giving you a proposal like this, then be like, you know what, you can, like, we can take all of this, but what's the main that you want out of that? You know what I mean? You want the same reason why you over in the first place. You want to be in control of the oil, right? You want to be able to where Nothing else has been used over there. With Saudi Arabia, like, they're making this deal, but you got to think they're the ones that dropped the petrodollar from the beginning. They're the ones that caused a lot of this shit to where you're able to bring in other currencies over, like the yuan and the ruble, over there to be able to buy the oil over there. They did this back June of last year. So if they would have kept that agreement, then you wouldn't have had to make all of these agreements over here. Probably the U.S. probably wouldn't even be over there right now fighting if you'd have kept that agreement in there. So it seems like to me, like, okay, Saudi Arabia, number one, you can't fight. So you don't
they
want
got the money.
Right. You got bread. You got that. But you know that you can't beat Iran. And the only ones that can is the U.S. Okay,
Correct.
so I'm going to give you all of this. Y'all stay over here and finish the job. Because if you don't, and you give Iran this much power over here,
now we're fucked.
Whether they got money or not, they're going to take over all of that. You know what I mean? And they don't want that to happen. So does that mean, okay, I'm going to give you $1 trillion here. I'm going to spend $500 billion here. Oh, you want me to help Israel too? No problem. We'll do that. Matter of fact, we'll put a pipeline all the way over there. We'll do all of it, and we'll pay for it all. Why? Because they know how much they're going to lose if they don't. You know what I mean? But this could have easily have been fixed if they would have never got rid of the petrodollar agreement back June of last year.
So it's interesting that the United States, I mean, being that Iran came back with a huge demand list, and so did we, it's interesting that we're kind of playing almost baby steps with the petrodollar instead of just doing it now. I mean, they're throwing their whole arsenal and their fight up front. We should too. I mean, we kind of did already on that proposal on the 15-point side on our side. But it's interesting you pointed out, because I didn't even think of, like, why. I didn't even think of that. You brought it to my attention. Like, yeah, why isn't that part of the deal right there? Like, hey, we're gonna. Or is that something that it's like a guaranteed absolutely no from Iran, so they don't even try? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it. When Aaron brought it up to me, that's the first thing that popped up. I said, man, you know what? They need to send me over there. I'll tell you exactly what we need right here.
Yeah, that's right.
Sign this
the
right
diamond
here.
Effect. The diamond effect. We could sit down with anybody. We'll negotiate it.
Yeah,
we got it over here.
Sign this right here. We good. But a lot of them over there, they're scared. You know what I mean? They're scared that if the U.S. do actually make a deal with Iran and pull out of there, what's going to happen to them? So they're going to come out them pockets. They're going to dip in them pockets deep to make sure that they don't leave, that they get rid of whatever you came here and said that you were going to do, you better finish this. You know what I mean? Because when you leave, then
we're screwed. Yeah.
Right. They're going to come with us. You know what I mean? That's like you go out of town and you out with your friends and you start a bunch of trouble and then you leave and go home. But the people that you started trouble with, they know them.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So your friends tell you, like, man, like, right,
leave.
like, don't come over here starting no shit because you got to go home and I got to live with these motherfuckers.
Well, Saudi's looking at it like, okay, Saudi flipped sides, really. And now they openly showed the world that they're on our side. You know, and when that happens and we come in and do our thing, of course, it's in Saudi's best interest. At this point, they already announced where their side was for that time. I mean, I'm not saying that shit can't flip. I'm just saying because that flipped for us. But that's something that we've got to be cautious about, absolutely. Because if we walk out of there and we leave, I mean, basically, it's kind of like a different type of vacuum. You know, you're leaving a potential victim, you know, because, hey, they just stuck up for us in their own region, and now we're leaving between, you know, with our tails between our leg or something like that. Then they're screwed. They're totally screwed on a regional aspect.
You know, when you go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna wait till you make your point, but I want to talk about the Russian deal that's being offered right now too, when you get time.
Okay. What
Go
I was
ahead and
going to say real quick,
Yeah.
I'm just say this real quick. So when you think about this whole thing, everything going on in the Strait, what's going on outside the strait, and you think about the stuff that's went on. Okay, you got what's going on in Venezuela. You think about Canada, for instance, how they wanted to make Canada 51st state, and you're going out to Greenland and all that. Okay, so a lot of this stuff is about resources. Now, I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound weird, and I'm gonna clear it up. So either Trump's is an absolute total fucking fool, or he's a genius. And the reason why I say that is this. You take over Venezuela. Mind you, Venezuela has the biggest oil production in the world. Mind you, it's thick, it's like mud, but it is the most oil that you're going to get anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's right.
Take out Saudi Arabia, UAE, Iran, all of that. Venezuela has. Canada also has a lot of oil that the U.S. gets every day. They get about 4 million barrels from Canada every day. So if you made Canada the 51st state, then you control that oil. You take that oil and you mix it with the oil in Venezuela, then you thin that down to where you can give it out. Whatever happens in the strait, win or lose, you still control the oil market, because all those countries that can't go into the strait because it's disabled or whatever, you can still get that oil from the U.S. I was kind of going through the other day, was writing down all this stuff, and then it kind of, you know how we do, we get to connecting the dots with different stuff here. And I'm like, hold on. So now I ain't sitting in one of these rooms. So either somebody being a mastermind or a complete idiot, one to two, because in order for that to happen, you would have to fracture this to the point that it's going to take years to fix in order to pull that off over there. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then I started wondering, like, okay, is this the actual overall plan? Is it the fact that you're really trying to open up the strait, or are you gonna try to capitalize to the point on the strait to where you have, you got ownership over there, like you say, you make this deal with the Saudis again, and take their offer that they given out on everything else, apply that to what you got over here, you can still take over everything away from the Saudis. You know what I mean? Now, we was talking about the Saudis being the friends. I think they kind of go according to who seems to be in control at the time. Because
we got lots of countries over there that do that. But yeah.
Right. So you think you had a 50-year treaty with the U.S. Then when BRICS popped on, you was the first one over there trying to get over there. You know what I mean? So you basically turned tail and ran over the BRICS. Now you got this going on. You know what I mean? You really don't know where to go right now, because you kind of like the odd man out. Yes, you got all the money, but you don't have control of what's going on. You can't control what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to be able to save face one way or the other. So if that means I got to turn my back over here in order to get you to do what I need you to do, then that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I got to protect my sovereignty over here, because without y'all, I'm basically washed. You know what I mean? Then what's going to stop them from coming over here taking my stuff? They already bombing over here. What's going to stop them from continuing to do that?
Well, to answer real quick on the question of like either, Trump is either the dumbest motherfucker in the world or he's the smartest, whatever. You got to remember, he's getting advised by the Pentagon, who, I mean, is the best conspiracy theorists in the world. They are going to do all of this, absolutely, and advise him and predict all of this, and then go, hey, this is the next best step, because this is what we're going to do with this lineup. I guarantee. So I don't solely think that Trump is making all of the direct, like his gut and mind decision. He's getting advised by the Pentagon, and of course, he knows that the Pentagon's probably got a great plan.
I think it really depends. I mean, you got so many of them that was in the Pentagon that's not in the Pentagon now. So it's kind of hard to. So it's kind of hard to say exactly what's going on over
Absolutely.
there.
No, I'm not. I know exactly what you're getting at, and that's true. You know what I mean? There is a lot of gray area in all of this. So we're doing our best to connect the dots, just like anybody else, right?
Yeah, I don't think this is. I mean, dealing with the Pentagon, I don't think this is what we got going on now. Is a situation where you need a bunch of yes men.
Of course not.
You need people there that know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So they don't have to agree with you. Their job is to get the mission accomplished by
objectives
any means
completed.
necessary. Right.
Yes.
Right. So you're gonna need people that's gonna tell you, no, that's a bad idea. You know what I mean? That's what these generals been in the military for 30 plus years. You know what I mean? They've been through just about everything you could possibly throw at them, and they still there. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to, no matter what your position is, sometimes you have to sit back and listen to what somebody else is telling you. So go ahead and tell your story about Russia, Aaron.
Okay. Now, we just saw where the Saudis tried to hire us to get rid of their competition. Now, here's an offer that Russia made to us as well. So Trump's got two deals on the table right now. Russia says that they're willing to give Trump $12 trillion that could be applied toward our national debt. That would reduce our national debt by 1/3. He said he's willing to open up. American businesses will get preferential treatment across Russia for products or anything that Russians will need for building or to come over there and start businesses. He's willing to build a 51-mile Bering Strait tunnel. He will give the contract to Elon Musk boring company. They will get the contract. And what that will do is it will cut freight from 3 weeks by sea down to 10 days by rail. So they're going to build an underground tunnel there from Russia to Alaska. He's willing to give Boeing the contract to rebuild the Russian airlines, which would take 10 years or more to rebuild. He says it will be guaranteed jobs for Americans, and Boeing will get all the contracts for doing that. And this is the key proviso for it, Russia is willing to move away from de-dollarization. That is key. I mean, that stabs China straight in the back because China wants their money to be the new currency.
Exactly.
We know from last year that India tried to cut a side deal with us. Now the Russians are trying to buy us off. The only thing we have to give up is Ukraine. So if we're willing to sell out Ukraine, we can get our national debt reduced by 1/3. But what did you say, Mike, about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, just being a realist, not what ought be or what should be, but definitely, unfortunately, we wouldn't put $1 to the national debt. We wouldn't. We wouldn't use it for that. No, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I would love that though. I would love that though.
Yeah, they'll just find another way to put it in another fund or whatever else that you ain't
Something
gonna
else.
see. I mean, like if they actually capitalize on this oil deal, they could take the proceeds and put it towards the national debt and pay it off. You know what I mean? Now, what Russia said, now they put office off. The one thing that kind of triggered me right there was that tunnel between Russia and Alaska. Like, I ain't feeling that one. No, I ain't feeling that one. That's just giving you easy access to come over here.
It's a little bit easier, right?
Right.
And we don't need
way
that.
easier. You just go through the tunnel and you pop out and you in the US. You know what I mean? Nah, bro.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Like, nah, keep your ass over where you at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we ain't about to do that. Now, that's the only thing that I actually let me see. But you see though, why come now all of a sudden everybody trying to pop up with all these deals? They popping up with these deals because they know, I mean, you may not like what's going on right now, but you also see what could happen on the other end of that.
You can't fall into the trap. 100%.
Exactly. So you know, we have to watch out on everything, because we're actually still being affected by this. Like I said, the gas prices fluctuating. You know, I mean, the grocery stores prices is rising up out the grocery store. I think I told you the other day, Aaron, how I went in the store, bought a couple little items. It was like 50, 60 bucks. I'm like, hold on, I don't even, the bag ain't even full. You know what I mean? It was just like a couple little things. But I know yesterday gas it had dropped down to it was like 375.
I'm at 398 right now.
I'm like,
today.
okay, cool. Today, 418.
Mm.
You know, so it's just bouncing. You know what I mean? And you notice every time that they get on there and say everything gonna be cool, price go down a little bit. As soon as they hear one thing, one shot go off, price shoot back up again. You know what I mean? So you got the blockade going on now, prices is up. Now let something happen during this blockade, it's gonna go up even higher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of this back and forth. You know what I mean? That's how they were talking about the people who are doing that insider trading, because they were getting news as to what was going to happen. So they buying and selling according to the messages that was getting ready to come out. So it was no, I'm not a Trump guy. I just said let me clean that up. But there was but they were talking about how people made billions of dollars when the oil prices went up. And then it showed that these same ones, right before the announcement came out, everything was going to be good, they start selling. Price drop. Then just as soon as missiles start flying again, they bought the same stuff back, shot back up again. So you got a group of these people, and they've called out a few of them as to who they were, and said that this is exactly what they're doing. And how did they know to be in and out like they were doing? You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's a wild landscape we're in right now, no doubt.
And then let me add something here. I did some research this week, and I found out the second half of this year, based upon inflation, that everyone can expect to see their energy bills increase by 15%. And food bills, because of the projected food shortages that they claim are coming, we're going to be looking at a 20% minimum increase on food. So, and if you don't mind, Mike, could you put up picture number 4, please? Okay. What this is a 1-month resilience plan. There's going to be shortages coming. I mean, I'm with the gun shows. I just recently found out that China's no longer shipping gunpowder to us, or the chemicals to make bullets with. So I'm told that the price of ammunition is going to start to increase, and then it's going to get scarce, and it may become where you won't be able to get it at all. There's no telling what other products you're not going to be able to get. That 1-month resilience plan shows you key things that you should be working on. And you don't have to work on all of it at once. You can say, well, April, I'm going to do the first one. June or May, I'm going to work on the second one. And you can pick each 1 month to do projects that can put you in a position to where you can weather any shortages or supply chain damage that's coming at us down the road. And then, Mike, if you don't mind, put up number 2, please. And right there is your essential prepper pantry foods. It's a very detailed list. It tells you certain key things that you can get, and you can make multiple meals out of those things so that you don't get bored eating the same thing all the time. But these are essential for people to start planning and preparing for. because these shortages will be coming at us here in the United States probably in the next 30 days or so. So they're not that far down the road. So I'll stop there.
So where we sitting at? We're sitting at 105. So we're gonna trim it down for the evening. But before I do, I'm gonna answer that question. No, I am not a Trump fan. Never have been. But like I said, when I was looking at what was going on and kind of connecting the dots, I came to that conclusion. Either he was a genius or he was a total dumbass, one of the two. I don't know which one it is yet. Right. I don't know which one it is yet. We're gonna have to watch and see. But this is just what I've seen based off of the actual trend. You know what I mean? And that's how a lot of the times, if you go back and watch a lot of these shows that we put on and listen to a lot of stuff that I say, if you notice, a lot of the stuff that I talk about months and months ago is stuff that we're actually sitting here talking about right now that I've already said 6, 7, 8, 9 months ago. Just for that reason, connecting the dots, following the trend. So that's where I got that from.
Yeah, it's not catered to any side or any person. It's just objective connecting the dots. That's all it is.
Right, exactly. But we're gonna shut it down for the evening. Like I said, I appreciate you all for coming out. Like always, like, follow, share, subscribe. Please, 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 on both ends, hit that like button. It's only take you a couple seconds to do, but that gets to show it on the proper algorithm so that the right people can see this. Because you have to think, the more people that see this, the more people that we're able to help along the way. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for too long, we're all going to need a little bit of help, one way or the other. So thank you all for coming once again. I'll see you all next week. We'll have another interesting story for you. And turn it over to you, Aaron.
Okay. Again, I mean, I'm a budget prepper. So I'm going to say if you have money that you can invest, don't put yourself in debt. Just get out there and start acquiring things. The more you acquire, the more confidence you're going to have. If you have no money at all, then acquire skills. Learn how to do things that would help you be self-reliant. And as long as you've got those skills on your belt, other things will fall into place later. And I'll stop there.
Well, guys, I can't thank each and every single one of you guys enough for being here, supporting us, as well as hitting that like button on both sides, like AB said. I just dropped in my chat AB's channel, The Diamond Effect. Make sure you guys go over there. If you guys are on my side, go subscribe. Hit the like button on his side as well. And listen, I can't thank you guys both enough, AB and Aaron, for bringing the heat, as always, and the information. I'm always honored to be a part of the discussions, and I very much appreciate everybody on the panel as well as in the chat. Listen, if you guys are on my side, stick around. We're going to be raiding our buddy Dr. Harley. He's live right now, so make sure you guys let him know we're coming through with the raid. Anyways, until then, until 7 days from now, we'll see you guys here in a little bit. Much love, honor, respect.
Stand